he'd had it written down. And it does mean that the first pick, what will it be? Will they go for that Shyvana? It's been picked a couple of times. Or because it's Super Hard Crew, will they go for Vi?
So both of the teams valued the Shyvana and the Mundo as their first picks. And it was either or. And it is going to be basically a mirror. Mima, once again, going to fall back to his Dr. Mundo. Is going to take a teleport most likely. And he had a very big impact in the previous game. His teleports were not necessarily frequent. But the 4 times he did use them, led to ganks, led to dragons, led to objective control. So if you're doing that 2, 3, 4 times a game, that's what helps you win.
Oh, we just went in for the first choices. And MeetYourMakers, this is the biggest picks and bans of their lives because they lose this game. They are back in towards the Coke Challenger Series, and the League of Legends Championship Series is where they want to be in the big time. Can they make it? That's the question, though, because they managed to win game 1 before. They have come back from a 2-0, by the way. Let's not forget that in the summer promotion series last year in 2013. Of course, this is 2014 now, and Super Hot Crew, the team to beat.
So the thing that is interesting to see now is that swapping over to the Thresh does 2 things here for MeetYourMakers. First of all, Libic played only Annie and Thresh in his 4 games at the first spring promotion. He's playing Thresh once again. He's taking that away from Mixer, as well as playing a very comfortable champion. So that's going to play into his favor. Mokate on Vi is going to be interesting. He played Evelyn, 3 games he played Lee Sin at spring promotion. Didn't work out too much in his favor. And ladies and gentlemen, we do have a Samurai locked in. Yasuo is available, and he has been picked.
Yeah, also, obviously, Vi being picked up and taken away, so a lot of changes coming out here. Makla, he's going to be returning to one of his old favorites, and that is Caitlyn. This is one I'm excited to see. We've already seen some fantastic Caitlyn just this week, of course, in the OGN. We've had the semi-finals in the OGN winter tournament, which obviously means that SKT T1K. Woo! World Champions, that's what you know, Season 3 World Champions, that's all I need to say, are up against Samsung Ozone. And if you caught any of those games, you would have seen some fantastic Caitlyn play in those matches from Imp, I believe it was.
Now, we'll have to see how this works out, because the Caitlyn pickup here makes me think that a 2v1 setup is quite possible and likely. A Thresh Caitlyn can push towers down very quickly, and a Dr. Mundo who's a little more difficult at wave clearing under the tower can definitely struggle a little bit against that. And we'll see who MeetYourMakers lock in as their final top laner. Shyvana is still available. They could go for it, and Shyvana's knockup would also allow Yasuo to dive onto the enemy champions. This should be a Yasuo in the middle. Most of the players in the pro scene are playing him mid as a very damage-heavy champion. He plays up very similarly to Master Yi. And if Charu goes for Orianna, then he's going to be top lane, who we also know Darian's been playing him top.
Could be Orianna. Yes, it will be. So it will be top lane, Kubon. We'll see how that works out. He is up against Mundo. It's a fight I'm interested to see, because it's a fight I'm expecting to see next week.
So there's a lot more early damage that'll come out of Yasuo in the early stages of the game. So I think at the very low levels, Yasuo should have the advantage. But once Dr. Mundo gets himself like a Sunfire Cape, that he can tank some of the physical damage as well as just regen through, I think the DPS of Yasuo is not necessarily going to be high enough to break Dr. Mundo. But we'll see how well it works out. With that Yasuo there, I'm expecting him to roam. I think he has great gank power and synergy with Vi, moving to other lanes trying to set up kills, and I'm hoping that's what Kubon does.
As you can see on the screen, lots of messages from lots of people for a Quickshot down the bottom there. This is not something you normally see, of course, because we are doing a very bare-bones setup here, and obviously, which is why you don't see our beautiful faces down the bottom of your screen. Some may argue it's not a pretty sight all the time, and I will also point out, obviously, Quickshot is doing the camera work today. Of course, there is a rally right now to get Quickshot to do all the camera work during the LCS, as well as including the TV cameras, so he's going to be a very busy boy in 2014.
Don't make people quit watching because my camera work is terrible. But yes, I am running the camera. It is significantly harder than initially anticipated. Listening to everything Deman says, trying to think about it and say it, but I'm making excuses, and it's not important. What is important, the Xin Zhao that's been locked in here as well. I think this is a great pickup for Impaler because it fills a very similar role to the Vi. It's very gank heavy, it's dive, 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 it's get in your face. And we've got a very similar composition. What I like about Mixers picking up the Zyra If the Vi and the Yasuo dive onto you, you can then throw down Stranglethorns, put Zyra's ultimate down, knock up the rest of MeetYourMakers, and you've got great disengage and a great way to buy time and zone control for these later team fights. And we know how good Super Hot Crew at picking their team fights correctly.
Absolutely. If you've missed the first game, then, well, it was a pretty dominant performance, despite, I do recall at one point, MeetYourMakers having a strong lane phase. They were winning out the lane. They were winning out the farm. But when it came to the ganks, when it came to the fights, and really the tactical positioning, if you think of that first dragon the Super Hot Crew picked up, they noticed Makata going towards the top lane, quickly went straight round, quick, decisive action from Super Hot Crew, and that's something MeetYourMakers need to react to as a team that's potentially splintered. I mean, this is a lineup that's been around for the longest in the history of League of Legends, actually, I should point out, because, you know, 1,000+ days these guys have been playing together before. But as it is, Charu could be replaced after this match. I
actually distinctly remember seeing a post on the MeetYourMakers Facebook page saying that Charu took a vacation, which he cancelled to come and play this, after 1,110 days of playing League of Legends. So non-stop since the beginning.
It's not bad.
Been there. I mean, it's a pretty good record.
I think he deserved his holiday, maybe.
And I think what he has done is he's decided that after all that, he's gone back to teleport. Mr. Rolls should be able to get away. I don't think MeetYourMakers seen him. And just getting back to that very quickly, teleport on Charu, teleport Orianna. So that laning phase could be distinctly different. What helped MYM pick up wins during the summer split was teleport ganks mostly to the duo lane. So this is where we need to keep our eyes open, and this is where I need to keep my eye on the minimap, if that's at all possible.
So, again, MeetYourMakers are on the invade. You can see the 5 members down that bottom half, but again, it seems Super Hot Crew countering it, knowing that this is coming. Looks like they're going to go for the red to red exchange. Well, this time around, it looks like Impaler is ready to move in there. He's got the help with Mima, so 2 members on the invade as opposed to MeetYourMakers with the 5. Once again, Kubon is going to back off. He's going to be heading towards that top lane, so he will be in that top. So we will have standard lane meta, top v top, duo lanes against each other. We'll see how it develops.
I want to keep my eyes on this Yasuo matchup because this is the first time we are seeing Yasuo in competitive play. And hopefully, we can explain some of his abilities. He is an incredibly technical champion that can do a lot of very cool things. So we'll see them as and when they happen. Right now, no invade from the rest of MYM. They finally start moving at 1 minute 51 on the clock. They are going to steal this red buff away. Completely uncontested. However, a very, very good ward placement here from Super Hot Crew is going to give them all the information they need. They've also got a ward sitting on the opponent's red buff. So Super Hot Crew will be able to invade and challenge for that one, knowing full well where everybody is.
Yeah, we should point out, obviously, MeetYourMakers, for the fact that they have picked up that Yasuo, there's a good reason they've gone with Libic on Thresh. They've gone with Assault and Battery Mikado. That's 3 skills being available. Look, obviously, Kubon's got his own skill of doing the knockups. The Steel Tempest, of course, being the knockup that Kubon has, that obviously allows Yasuo to do his ultimate. You can only use that ultimate on someone who is in the air. If you've not played him, I honestly recommend you give it a try. He's a very fun champion to play. Impaler, though, has gone for that invade. You can see it right here, but he's getting countered. Makata comes around. I'm not sure if they got knock-up damage on towards him. They do knock him up, though. 3 talent strike working well. Forces the flash out. Now they're going to go in towards Kubon. Moops is going to try and get the belly slam in. Flashes again. That's 2 flashes burnt from MeetYourMakers.
Very good reactionary play there from MeetYourMakers to actually try to challenge the invade, but it was red, and it was predicted by the Super Hot Crew. They had more numbers closer together, and they were able to not only force the flashes away, steal the red buff. It's not over.
It's not over yet. He walks straight to the barrel. He gets the ignite down. Is that going to be enough damage? That's the question. I don't think it will be enough. He's got the health pot running, but they're not going to let him back off. You've seen another barrel coming in. Can he predict this barrel at the right time? Flashes in now. Tries to belly slam. Use the dash away and dodges out of the barrel. Great stuff there. And now Moops is actually taking a lot of damage.
That was a bit of confidence there from Moops. He used his flash. He used his ignite. He's lost a lot of CS and farming time to Charu in the mid lane. So it may have put him further back than he was hoping for, but they do slow down Makate. Still only level 2. He's got his hands on 1 red buff that he was stolen, that he stole from the Super Hot Crew. And it just means that his early game is going to be hindered. So you've lost some CS from your mid lane in trade for your jungle.
We'll see how that develops as the game moves on. Down this bottom lane, we can see Mr. Rales once again on Lucian. He did a fantastic job in game 1, went about 12-0-6, I think it was, towards the end there. My memory may be lapsing a little bit there, but Makler putting the pressure on this time around, 22 CS to 8.
Yeah, Mr. Rolls and Mixer falling way behind in terms of the CS numbers, and this has a lot to do with the threat of Libic's Thresh. He is much scarier at levels 1 and 2 with a hook and a flay that can cost you a death. Hook goes out, as you see, and Mixer simply can't get involved. You know, a grasping roots and an auto attack, that's nowhere near as scary. So because of that presence, Makler has stamped an authoritative control on this lane right now.
Great pressure from Makler there as well. Managed to land that headshot, keeping him at bay. Kuban in the top lane. Well, he's getting caught out. Another 3-time strike, bouncing Kuban in the air. Unfortunately for him, Mimer's not in there. He has flashed through though. That's going to land the chopper. The burnout running. That is first blood for Mimer.
Once again, first blood picked up by the side of Super Hot Crew. They managed to, you know, re-gank a lane. No, oh, they've caught Mixer.
Call Mixer down the bottom. He's had to flash away from this one again, but they have the support of the jungler. Will they try and dive? I don't think they will. I think they're safe just to find this one out. They knew that Mr. Rales was coming back.
They got the flash, which is very important. So now if they redo that in a couple of minutes' time, Mixer could fall victim. And I think one of the things that I wanted to touch on there with Kuban up in the top lane, he was low on mana. They knew he had no flash, and Libic with another hook. That's, I think, 3 or 4 consecutive hooks that we've seen him landing, and just doing very, very well with Thresh. It is a comfort pick for him. It is somebody he knows how to play, and he's making it work right now.
Making it work. We do see Makler heading off as well. He's going to go get himself some items. We'll see what it is. He managed to get a giant CS lead built up there. Whether he'll just go for a second Doran's Blade or whether he'll go towards that item, it will be the Vampiric Scepter. So he's building up towards that Bloodthirster very early on here. Meanwhile, the top lane, well, we can see it's a bit of a distance building up here. Yasuo trying to catch up. Of course, Kuban did get killed early on. 28 to 14 CS behind, though.
So I just want to touch on 2 things that you've just noticed. The 2 abilities that Yasuo is using in the last few seconds, his Q and Steel Tempest. It's something that it charges up. It deals damage in a line straight in front of him. He just used it there. And if he casts it 3 consecutive times, the 3rd time will send out a skill shot whirlwind that acts very much like Howling Gale, knocks champions up into the air. So that's how one of his knockups comes from. The second one is his dash. You'll see him throwing himself through minions. He can hit 1 minion or any target once every 10 seconds, and he should be using it up shortly.
Yeah, there is the whirlwind. You can see that little sign, that little graphic hovering around him, easy to spot. There is the dash as well. We'll see how this progresses because they're going to be building very differently. Kuban's going to be going full-on nuke, expecting to go explosive. Mimer getting caught on by Makata. Wasn't too worried about that one. Has got himself that chain vest already, along with the Doran's Blade and Doran's Shield.
It was just a little love tap. I think that was just a little love tap by Makata saying, I am here, I'm showing my presence, I want you to be aware I'm ganking all lanes. Because remember, Makata was bottom lane not 2 minutes ago. So what this does in the minds of Super Hot Crew is they need to be a little bit more present and need to be cognizant of the fact that Makata is playing a very gank-heavy jungler. But it doesn't really mean anything because until Vi hits level 6, she's not an immense amount of threat. So it's not something that Super Hot Crew are too worried about in these early stages.
But what I am worried about, certainly for Super Hot Crew this time around, is the pressure that MeetYourMakers have in this bottom lane. Look at this, 49 CS to 27. A giant lead being built up by Makler here.
And if he continues to keep control, this is going to make Lucian's life much more difficult in this mid game. And part of the reason for picking the Caitlyn is for the immense range that she offers. You can sit far away from Xin Zhao, you can sit further back from the Gragas barrels, and it's a lot of a safety pick there. We'll see how this works out as you see Makate once again hanging around in the bottom as they've caught Charu out.
Well, they've kind of helped him away from the tower there, I feel, just throwing the barrel out. Not a great deal of damage behind that barrel just yet, but it's enough. Looking down the bottom lane, though, they're going aggressive. They're going to use the culling on towards Makler. Meanwhile, the supports are going back and forth. Actually, a lot of damage. Makler having to 90 caliber net away from this one. Is it going to be enough? Mr. Rales is not going to pursue. Libic doing a great job of defending.
Yeah, Makler took way too much damage too early. From the looks of things, got caught out by that grasping roots, and once he was locked in place, was unable to get away from the damage of Lucian. Working their way up towards those ultimates right now, but still a very big CS advantage for Makler. Could still be in trouble. The one thing is, in this top lane, CS advantage in favor of Mimer, and Kuban hasn't even hit level 6 yet. He's a full level and a half behind his lane opposition.
Something as we do look at this top lane, we see with Yasuo, we should mention the wind wall he has. That could actually be a pretty big deal when those explosive cascades get thrown out later, if he can land it. And that is a really tough skill shot to land at the right time.
Yeah, of course, that wind wall will block any and all projectiles with the exception of turret shots. They will be blocked, they'll be disintegrated, will not have an effect. And I think that's it right there. So no cleavers will go through, no barrels will go through, no auto attacks will go through. But a very smart pickup from Super Hot Crew. They lock in Xin Zhao, who has no projectiles. He'll just launch himself in through the wall. Of course, it's not going to prevent the champion going through it. And that's a very smart pickup, I think, potentially reactionary. I can't remember at what point they picked him.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that farm turns out as well. All down the bottom there. Stranglethor's getting thrown down. Limbic will get bounced up, but there's no damage coming out. Teleport now coming in as well. That's going to be mid lane. Charu getting in there. He hasn't got Shockwave available. Yes, he does. I tell a lie. Didn't even bother using it. Didn't care, frankly, because it doesn't matter. Makler picks up the kill. They're all very low, though. We do see the jungler coming in, and Paler's take a look in there.
Oh.
Mr. Rallis comes in, gets a snipe on towards Makler.
Brilliant, brilliant play from Mr. Rallis. Makler was hanging around for far longer than he should have. He simply needed to back away at low HP. Not over yet, as it does look like the rest of Super Hot Crew want to continue the invade. They've lost a kill, and obviously they're not going to be able to pick up any more kills of their own, but that does look like he want to challenge for blue buff. Smite is up for Makate if he wants to go in for it.
Yeah, you're going to maybe have to force Impaler to use it. Instead, he does take it down anyway, regardless. Quite happily securing that one. That means the blue buff will be stolen away. So despite the fact MeetYourMakers had a great start in this bottom lane, it has all just backfired because look at the CS. 61 to 62. Immediately pulled that massive 20 CS lead back. Meanwhile, the bottom, the top lane, sorry, you do see Kuban going aggressive. Mima having to use that ultimate. The regen, of course, will be strong, but that was already a scary sign for Mima in the top lane.
Yeah, Kuban blew everything there. Used his ultimate, used the ignite, and got Mima very low, but was unable to pick up the kill. So that is very crucial. Right now, though, Kuban's got lane presence and lane control, as Impaler was looking like he wanted to set something up, decides against it at the end of the day. And I think part of the reason that the bottom lane has swung now back in favor of Mr. Rolls is that Makler was forced very, very low a few minutes ago. He's on low HP, and he decided to stick around. He didn't back away, heal up, and try to get that lane dominance again. So all of the pressure that he'd built up, all of the control that he'd earned in the opening minutes had basically been mitigated by that immense amount of damage he took.
Kuban not quite judging the damage he did there. Missing the main CS, which was the Siege minion. So missing a big chunk of gold there. 2 minions, actually. It was about 70 gold, just missed by not quite judging the damage he was doing out yet. As you can see, he's gone for that average blade early on, so he is going to be building up towards the static shiv, I would suspect, first off for him. As it stands, though, down this bottom lane, look at this. The BF sword was picked up now by Mr. Rallis, who's doing a fantastic job of bringing himself back into it, along with that long sword. Meanwhile, Berserker Greaves were picked up. Makler realizing he's going to start needing some ability to get away from Mr. Rallis because, well, as you saw in the last fight, he just got dived and sniped.
And very importantly, to dodge the skill shots of Zyra. If he gets caught up by any of those routes, Lucian has got a lot of early game damage, and his skills scale of bonus AD very, very well. So with those double Dorans and the BF sword, if Makler's held in place by any of those routes, Lucian's just going to hammer away and melt that HP of Makler's Caitlyn.
Charu's actually got himself a little lead in this mid lane. That's because Moops was going wandering, but at one point, Moops was quite far ahead, so Charu's done a good job of bringing him back in there. Both of them have had a little time of wandering. Of course, Charu did teleport down that bottom lane earlier on, but we do see it's still fairly even between those two. I think we're going to see them coming into the game a little later on than normal. Well,
you know, the thing with a Charu is he's going to be happy staying in lane. Oh, they've caught Mixer.
They've caught Mixer. They've thrown the box down. Mixer's not going to get out of this one. He will get taken out there, but Makata's in trouble. They're going to try and close that gap. Impaler goes diving in. Has to flash away. The Cullen coming out. Is he going to have enough? Yes, he will. Mr. Rallis gets in there. That red buff, of course, doing work.
And, of course, now he manages to get himself that red control. Now they've caught up Moops.
Moops tries to throw out the barrel. Charu quickly pulls the defensive ball there onto himself, and that means the pressure now from Super Hot Crew is going to be on this bottom turret.
Yeah, they've got a lot of damage they can put down. With the kill that Mr. Rolls picked up, he actually took the red buff away from Makate. So not only was he a tiny bit behind this lane, this red buff plus the massive damage he's got from the BF sword is going to allow him to even that up and take control. Kuban and Mima going head to head. Kuban's got his ulti.
Kuban's trying to go into it, knock something towards Mima, but the Burning Agony is doing the damage right now. One more chopper should be able to land. It will be the Infected Blade. Will it get in there? Does manage to land it. There it is. And it's Mima that wins out.
Yeah, Kuban just getting caught out, underestimating the power of the Sadism ultimate from Dr. Mundo. Ignite was not available there, and Kuban picked a fight, picked a battle without having that health regeneration cancellation of Ignite, and ends up costing him 0-2 in that top lane.
Yeah, so Sunfire Cape picked up by Mima. Oh, it's going to be Mixer actually getting caught out. Another great lantern pulling him in there. Mixer will go down here. The plant being popped off. He won't get anything from the passive there. And that was another easy pickup for MeetYourMakers.
They need to get Dragon now. Knowing that the support is down, knowing that, you know, Mr. Rolls was late, they've started Dragon off, but this was a very uncommitted Dragon. They dilly-danned around. There's a teleport coming in from Mimer in the top, and SHC want a challenge.
Impaler's going to go in, but he doesn't have Smite available, but instead it's Moops that picks it up unbelievably. Mercata did have Smite, and now he's actually going to get picked off. He will go down. Mimer's going to come in to help out. Moops picks up the kill.
Moops secures that with the explosive cast barrel combination. Finishing big objectives like that against a Gragas is always difficult because of the immense burst that he can put down. And Super Hot Crew, not even afraid that they were undermanned, they went straight in, challenged immediately. And you've seen as well, Mercata, I think he smited, he didn't even have it available for Dragon actually. I didn't see how it started.
No, Mercata had it, but Impaler didn't. So Impaler came in to do that.
And now Mr. Rolls is in trouble.
Teleport coming down, Mr. Rolls is indeed in trouble, but actually Charu, no, doesn't catch it, misses the shockwave, and now Limic's going to get taken down. Mr. Rolls may well die in the process, and that's going to be the ace in the hole. That will get picked up. It is going to be Makler that takes it, but Charu, oh, that shockwave cost your support a life.
Completely, and I think very good reaction timing from Mr. Rolls there. Whether it was the dash to dodge the shockwave, or if that's what he was doing anyway, it worked out perfectly for him. The second time that we've seen Charu using that teleport, and the second time, the first gank had no shockwave in it, second time, it missed. But nevertheless, Makler was the one that gets a kill credit. He now takes that red buff away from Mr. Rolls, and with his BF Sword and Vamp Scepter, maybe can make that do work. Catch up the kill deficit that his opponent now has, and maybe also finish off that Bloodthirster in the not too distant future.
Makler must be kicking himself right now. It's such a fantastic start in this bottom lane to be this far behind, honestly. The fact that he was 20 CS plus ahead so early on. He's equal in CS now. He's behind in gold. You can see a 200 gold deficit. That's such a big turnaround so quickly. And all credit to Mr. Rolls and Mixer for really just being... What's the word I'm after here? I always fall on this one.
Defensive? Reactionary? I'm not sure.
Defensive,
I can't think.
Possibly. Disciplined enough to stick around. That's the one. Why do we always forget that word?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'll try to remember it for next time.
Yeah, thanks.
The one thing that is very impressive as well is this is a lane matchup that heavily favors MeetYourMakers. Caitlyn Thresh is always going to bully a Lucian Zyra, the range and the kill threat that Thresh offers. But now we're getting later and later into the game. The utility that Zyra's going to offer, plus the big damage that Lucian's now hitting, is actually going to swing this lane to be a little bit more even, and maybe even in favor of Super Hot Crew. So the onus is now on MeetYourMakers to not get caught out at all.
Red buff, we do see Mercata having a little standoff here with Impaler. Impaler's going to come straight into the bush. Mercata's waiting. There's the barrel start. He knew that somewhere he was coming. It's Impaler that goes in. A lot of damage getting straight in there because you immediately see once that wind wall was thrown out there. Sorry, it was Kuban jumped straight on towards him, but Kuban's in trouble. He doesn't want to chase out, throws out the wind wall, saying, no, not having any of those choppers coming back at me. Let's run for your life. Moops is the man, though. They could try and lock out here, but instead he's actually going to dash right down. There's no tower to worry about there. He's in a straight 1v1 with Charu. Charu, who does have Shockwave available, he's not going to land it again.
Manages to get the flash out of Moops, though. The simple threat that Charu was chasing him, and chasing him so confidently, means that Moops needed to force that flash to get out safely. Mercata, with a good read there, realizing Super Hot Crew are going to challenge this red buff. They set up, got a kill, and now Mercata's in trouble.
Mercata should be able to dash away from this one. He does. No chopper's going to land on towards him. Let's have a look down this bottom lane. We see Charu sneaking in there, but he's going to sneak straight into a ward. And that is going to give Super Hot Crew the warning, but Mixer's already been pulled in. You can see the tag ball will come in there. Stranglethorn's being thrown out, but Mixer's in all sorts of trouble. Ace in the hole will come out now. Now Mr. Rales is going to be the focus target. He's still keeping them at bay. Not too worried. He's got the support of Moops coming down, but instead he's going to clear the wave.
The amount of damage that Makler took there when they were trying to focus the support, once again, forces him out of the fight, forces him back. Yes, MeetYourMakers got a kill, and yes, that is a very good play for them. But there was no shockwave use. I think Charu is playing very hesitant on his shockwave, and that could come to bite them. You know, if he hesitates in a key dragon fight in about 2 minutes' time, that could be very difficult for them.
Impaler, of course, has the timing on the blue buff, and we already see Moops and Impaler was sniffing around there. They know that it will be up in a few moments, so that's why they're getting ready. Instead, they choose to push on towards his bottom turret. Why not get a 2-for-1 deal while you're there? And that is going to be the turret picked up. Blue buff should be available shortly. They're going to back away from it. They realize MYM have all managed to come back down there.
Yeah, it's still a minute and a half before that dragon comes up, and the thing that's very important to note is just how good the vision is for the Super Hot Crew there. They've got a big ring of wards in and around that area of the map, and they're going to be fully aware when MeetYourMakers are coming in to challenge for Dragon. Alternatively, it's going to allow them to pick it up very safely. So I really, really like that decision-making from Super Hot Crew. And of course, like you said, because they had the vision, because they had the numbers, it just allowed them to pick up their third outer tower completely uncontested.
MeetYourMakers gathering in the mid lane now. They're maybe going to try and shove down as quick as they can on towards that bottom turret. They realize that everybody are backed away. You can see they're putting the pressure down, but again, Makler not really with them, so they haven't got the pressure to get on that turret. They have lost it themselves, of course. It's 3-0 in turrets. That's a pretty big lead for Super Hot Crew already.
You know, I talked about it in Champ Select, and I felt that if MeetYourMakers had gone for the 2v1 setup and I put the Caitlyn Thresh against Dr. Mundo, it would have allowed them to, you know, maybe fast push the towers, maybe rotate a little quicker, and play the objective game, which I think their composition would do very, very well. On the same token, I think, you know, Yasuo maybe not necessarily the strongest in a 1v2. He's got a little bit of range. He does have some defense against poke, and he's not mana related, so that wind wall could definitely be used to help keep him safe. So I feel like maybe MYM not making the best decisions in the early game, and it hasn't necessarily worked out for them right now.
So Dragon up in 12 seconds. We do see Mundo. He's up on the top, but he has got teleport available. It is MeetYourMakers in full position, but Super Hot Crew, they're already closing the net on this one.
Oh, they're going to catch Mixer here completely.
Oh, flash away there. Makata trying to dive in towards him. He's going to pull that flash away. He's not going to be available. The culling coming out. That's going to start barraging a little bit of damage on towards them. Mixer going and Mima going straight in. The explosive cast being thrown out the side there. Stranglethorns will pull them out. Assault and battering on towards Mr. Rallis, but it's not going to be enough. Mr. Rallis tries to turn this one around. Doesn't quite get the kill. Meanwhile, Mima does take down the top laner of Kubon. Now he's going to get on towards Makler. Makler dodging away from that flame black cleaver of him towards him. Not going to land it again. Barrel does land this time though. Mima picks up the kill with the burning agony.
2 for 1 at the end of that. The Super Hot Crew with a very good surround. Teleport from Mima closes off any escape to the north from MeetYourMakers, and having Mixer coming up from the south, it allowed the Stranglethorns and the Grasping Roots to prevent MeetYourMakers go anywhere but through very tight channels. So a good fight, only losing one member of their team, securing the Dragon as well, and that's going to allow Super Hot Crew a 6,000 gold lead right now.
And we should mention it's so very rare that those pincer moves actually work like that. I think it was more about the culling, forcing them out, catching all 4 members. They were like, oh, panic, we got to get out of this damage, realizing the situation.
On top of that, MeetYourMakers hesitating again.
Yes.
MeetYourMakers seeing that they were getting encroached by the pincer. And the reason I really dislike those pincer moves, the 3-2 approaches, because if you approach a team that is, you know, grouped up as a 5-man, they are going to be able to just pull the trigger, Assault and Battery plus Shockwave on 1 or 2 of your members. And if they manage to pop that person instantly, it's now a 5v4, which is nearly impossible to win. And I think MeetYourMakers, they didn't do that. They didn't instantly react to the pincer, and that's why they got pushed out and pushed away. Fear, hesitation, nervousness, any of those things could have been the cause. And at the end of the day, Super Hot Crew just extend their lead.
Yeah, and let's not forget the explosive cast, but I think blew 3 of them in towards the blue buff area, so effectively it made their 5-man group a 2-man group. And quickly turned it around. So mid lane's going to be the pressure though. MeetYourMakers want to try and drive in. Shockwave comes out. They do catch on towards Impaler. I had no idea that Kubon could use his ultimate after a Shockwave, but it seems that they can. It does mean that the tower's going to go down, or is it? Because Kubon's getting destroyed. He takes the lantern though from Living. Meanwhile, he can see coming in the top Mima. Can he catch on towards them? That chopper's going to be the easiest one to land. He's going to get the burning agony on towards Living. Living getting separated there. We see Mr. Rallis chasing on towards Charu. Charu forced away from this one. They have separated one, but they're not going to get the kill. Can they go for the inner turret? They're going to go towards Kubon. Kubon, they realize who by a ward, they will not get the kill again.
They won't get the kill, but now they've got positioning here on the tower. A large minion wave sitting with them, and all of that attack damage coming out of Mr. Rolls. This should be another tower for them. The 4th of the game. And Super Hot Crew with a great reaction. Keep in mind, Impaler didn't even go down. After being hit by all of those ultimates underneath the tower, he did not get taken out by the MeetYourMakers burst. And unfortunately for MeetYourMakers, they've now lost another tower. They've lost themselves a red buff, and it looks like the rest of Super Hot Crew, they're not done yet.
They're not done yet. They're going to rotate around. They're going to go towards this top inner turret. MeetYourMakers are there, though, in full 5-man defense. They're coming around the side. Mima getting caught out, getting hooked in, but is he tanky enough? The box catching him out there. The rest of the team do come around just the side there, and well, he answers the question. He is tanky enough. He even took the ace in the hole. It didn't get blocked off. It still hits him because he's 4-0. He's got the Radiant. He's got the Sunfire Cape and the Ninja Tabi. He is a big Mr. Mundo once again.
Yeah, once again, all of the physical damage coming out of MeetYourMakers means his itemization is fairly simple. There's not enough burst from Charu. You see, look at the pincer movement from Super Hot Crew. There's no Stranglethorn, so a tower dive is a lot more difficult without Mixer's CC potential. However, the Grasping Roots plus a barrel is there, so we want to keep our eyes on Moops's explosive casks.
Look at the health of Mimer already. That ultimate just giving them all the reach, and they've locked in. They've got Mr. Rales down. That's the AD carry. Makler managing to pick up the kill, but everybody else from MeetYourMakers is so low on health right now. Impaler comes in, gets one, gets two. Can he clean up here? Livik in trouble. That's good. Burning in Agony will take him down. Mimers gets another. Mr. Rales, Impaler gets a triple kill. Now they're going towards Makata. The Ignite's going to be it before he gets to the fountain. That is the ace for the Super Hot Crew.
And they only lost Mr. Rolls. That was MeetYourMakers diving onto Mr. Rolls, picking the fight, picking the engagement, and Super Hot Crew just reacted with perfection. They dispersed all of the MeetYourMakers members thanks to the Gragas ultimate, and the chase potential of that Xin Zhao and Dr. Mundo was too much for MeetYourMakers to handle. They are now like 10,000 gold down, 5 towers to 1. And yes, MYM, they got a kill, but at what cost? That's the question.
And all of that without the AD carry, because he went down right at the start of the fight. Currently, the Super Hot Crew are looking a shoe-in almost for the LCS spot, which of course will be beginning in just 3 days' time. Tuesday will be the start, 7 p.m. Central European time. That is, I should add. I think that's 8 a.m. Pacific. I may be wrong on that one. I can't quite add the math and do deletions.
Actually, I think it's 10 a.m. because it should be 9 hours ahead.
So that's a nice, easy start for the Americans as well.
Enough.
So there's no excuse, basically, to miss the action when it begins over here in Germany. Right now, though, Super Hot Crew, could they be facing off against Roccat in their first game of the LCS? Currently, seems like they might be.
I'm just going to say yes. To answer the question, it doesn't look like there's a lot MeetYourMakers can do to come back from this one. They have just picked up their second tower of the game. Yasuo is miles away as the rest of Super Hot Crew are going to pick up an uncontested Baron. MeetYourMakers don't even know this is happening. Nobody is moving towards the Baron. They've got no vision in the area. And this is just all too easy for Super Hot Crew. One of the strengths we've seen from this team is their decision-making in this mid-game. The way they roam to objectives and the way they play the control over those objectives, and they've got absolutely locked it down.
And 4 members went down there. They're trying to get the dragon, trying to get anything from it, but they're a full 50 seconds off. Meanwhile, Super Hot Crew, who knew the timers, have got the Baron. Now they're rolling on down there. They've already got the full advantage. They're sweeping lenses, clearing out all the wards. They have everything on lockdown right now. This is desperate, desperate trouble, desperate times. And again, nothing that MeetYourMakers can do about it.
Well, Moops is coming in from the side, and with Mimer getting closer and closer to the action, this could be the start of a fight. If MeetYourMakers start this one, this is against a Baron up team. They know Mimer's not there, they've gone in.
They've gone deep, they've gone for Mr. Rales, and it's not worked out. Stranglethorn's bounces in there, and look at MeetYourMakers, they're also low on health, and in comes that big Dr. Mundo, ripping through them. Makler in trouble, he gets caught out. That is 4 for 0, and well, it's a teleport coming in, he's going straight for the inhibitor turret.
Now, not only, is it a surrender?
It's a surrender!
Camera's gone!
That is it, MeetYourMakers. They knew it was their last-ditch effort. They are going to be, unfortunately for them, in the Coke Challenger Series, which is not a bad thing at the end of the day, but it was all about that League of Legends Championship Series spot, and the Super Hot Crew are in.
They are the 8th and final European team that will be playing on Tuesday once we kick off the 2014 season. And I tell you what, it was a dominant start to this series, to these games. They played well against SK. I said at the beginning, they were arguably the best performing amateur team next to Copenhagen Wolves. And they're going to have a chance to prove how they can play at the top level.
Absolutely fantastic stuff. I'll be surprised if they don't